Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Honghuang. 13 suicide letters, tears burst from the sky. Zhou Yuan traveled through the wilderness and became the fiancé A.E. of Sanxiao. With the power of the system, he easily achieved great power and existence. He thought he could spend the rest of his life peacefully with Sanxiao, but he never expected the heavens to suddenly become turbulent. In order to prevent the leakage of dark substances from the heavens from causing floods and collapses, Zhou Yuan left without saying goodbye and had to leave Sanxiao's side to suppress the heavens. With the passage of time, Zhou Yuan's body was gradually eroded by dark substances and was about to lose its support. In order to free Sanxiao from suffering in the future divine calamity and prevent Sanxiao from blaming him for not seeing him for too long, Zhou Yuan wrote 13 suicide letters and passed them on to Sanxiao with his great power. When Sanxiao, who was still waiting for Zhou Yuan's return, saw these 13 suicide letters, tears burst down on the spot. All misunderstandings and grievances were clear, and a solution to the future catastrophe of intercepting education was found in the suicide letters. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Guarding the Heavens. Disappearance for billions of years. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Guarding the Heavens. Disappearance for billions of years. A flood and famine. On Jianao Island. 3 women are staring at each other. These 3 women all have extraordinary temperament, fresh and elegant. She has a graceful and curvaceous figure, dressed in elegant fairy clothes, and a face that is even more extraordinary, with a fanatical and unparalleled appearance. After staring at each other for a long time, the youngest woman suddenly became angry and said, "Sister, don't think of that heartless man anymore. I don't think he will come back at all. It is useless for my sisters to wait for him for hundreds of millions of years, but he has left without any news. Humph, I'm afraid I've been fooling around with some fox spirit for a long time." Upon hearing this, the woman next to her, with green peach eyes and a graceful fairy robe, also said, half worried and half angry, "At the beginning, my 3 sisters had promised to marry him together, but he somehow disappeared. So far, there is no news. I really don't know if it's like what 3rd sister said, which fox spirit did she hang out with, or if something unexpected happened while honing outside." As the 2 women spoke, their breath surged and they connected the 4 directions of heaven and earth, making them truly powerful at the peak level of the Tai Golden Immortal. Combined with their appearance and temperament, the identities of these 3 women are self-evident. Jiao Sanxiao. After listening to the words of the 2 sisters, sitting in the middle of the sky, his face was also very gloomy. She said in a deep voice, "On the eve of the Lich disaster, Zhou Yuan and my sisters met on an overseas fairy island. But since our 3 sisters confessed their hearts to him and promised him a lifetime, he suddenly disappeared. Nowadays, the Lich demon tribulation has already ended for billions of years, but I have searched through the wilderness without any trace of him. Did he have an accident or abandoned my 3 sisters?" In the words of the clouds, there was a great deal of worry and a hint of deep resentment. And Bixiao Qiongxiao also showed deep frowns and a worried expression on her face. At that time, Zhou Yuan got to know their 3 sisters on the eve of the Lich disaster. After a long time of falling in love, both parties had already agreed on a marriage date. Unexpectedly, Zhou Yuan suddenly disappeared and there was no more news as soon as he left. Over the years, Sanxiao has exhausted all means and even borrowed the power of Zixiao to search for Zhou Yuan. But Zhou Yuan seemed to have evaporated from the human world, unable to find a single shadow. But the 3 of them couldn't forget that man at all, they had been waiting foolishly. This is the case. It's billions of years. Time is long. Many of my fellow disciples within the sect cannot even bear to watch it, and I have privately advised them countless times. Zhou Yuan's soul has long been hooked by other women. He won't come back, the 3 junior sisters should give up. 3 junior sisters have been waiting for him for billions of years. If he had any conscience, he should have appeared now. Such various rumors often linger in the ears of Sanxiao. But Sanxiao remained unmoved and persisted in waiting. Because they were extremely clear about Zhou Yuan's character and knew that Zhou Yuan could not do anything wrong to them. What Bixiao Qiongxiao said just now was just a momentary angry remark after waiting for billions of years without any results. On the other side, in the depths of endless chaos, a massive figure that covers the chaos of the universe is standing quietly in the vast Milky Way. Around him, in the chaos of all directions, terrifying dark matter surged wildly, frantically wanting to devour and destroy everything. And the man is just silently urging his strength. The vast and supreme power constantly emerges from this figure, connecting the chaos in all directions and erasing all the leaked dark matter. I can't hold on for long. A deep voice rang out in this chaotic time and space, containing endless exhaustion and sadness. And the giant shadow, almost as tall as chaos, gradually transformed into a handsome and unparalleled male figure. This person is Zhou Yuan, the fiancé whom Sanxiao has been longing for. Zhou Yuan's face darkened, with endless longing and vicissitudes in his eyes. He was originally a person from the Blue Star, but unexpectedly crossed into the wilderness. With the help of the various celestial systems, he was also at ease in the wilderness. Later, by chance, he met Sanxiao and eventually made a marriage agreement. Unexpectedly, the dark matter of the heavens suddenly leaked inexplicably. The system has dispatched tasks to send him immediately to the depths of chaos to guard the heavens. Dark matter is the evil side of the origin of the universe. Once allowed to erupt, it will inevitably erode and destroy the entire wilderness. Helpless, Zhou Yuan had to immediately rush to the depths of chaos and guard the heavens. In extreme desperation, I didn't even have time to say goodbye to Sanxiao. Although he arrived in time and successfully suppressed the dark matter, to his surprise, the dark matter kept gushing out from the cracks of chaos, making it impossible for him to escape. Any leakage of dark material will cause irreparable destruction to the heavens. Although Zhou Yuan was suppressing the heavens, his strength was also constantly skyrocketing. Now it has become an existence above saints. There are too many dark substances leaking out of the chaos of the heavens, and all of them are absorbed by Zhou Yuan alone. Under the accumulation of billions of years, even the supreme Tao body of Zhou Yuan can no longer withstand this terrifying burden. He was mentally and physically exhausted to the extreme. Just fall down. At this point, Zhou Yuan looked at the frozen picture in front of him, in which Sanxiao's sisters were still waiting for their return. A hint of indescribable guilt couldn't help but appear in my eyes. More deeply worried. He can still maintain this state for a period of time. But now, after a long time of the chaos of the witch demon realm, the divine realm may be activated at any time. In the process of sealing the gods and measuring the calamity, Zixiao was completely destroyed from top to bottom. Sanxiao will also perish in that catastrophe. But now that I am suppressing the heavens, I am unable to withdraw and go back. It's okay. What's the point of suppressing these heavens if the 3 heavenly clouds fall in the realm of Fengshen? Zhou Yuan's eyes lit up with a divine light. A series of letters suddenly appeared in front of him out of thin air, and the endless avenue's charm and righteousness continued to bless the letters. On the letter, it records Zhou Yuan's millions of years of hard thinking and thoughts about Sanxiao, and the methods and powers to help Sanxiao and even Zixiao avoid the divine calamity. The supreme power is intertwined, and the divine chains of order surge in layers throughout the sky. After a long time, 13 suicide letters have finally been written. The great power that swept across the heavens immediately surged from within Zhou Yuan's body, wrapping these 13 suicide letters one by one. Subsequently, one by one, pass it on to Zixiao. Chapter 2. 13 Suicide Letters. Goodbye, Sanxiao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. 13 Suicide Letters. Goodbye, Sanxiao. On the other side. On Jinao Island. Sanxiao sat inside a temple, still maintaining his previous position. They silently looked at the sky outside the island, waiting for the heartless man to return. These days have been happening every day in the life of Sanxiao, and have lasted for billions of years. Although Zhou Yuan left for billions of years, there were various grievances in Sanxiao's heart. But they did not believe that Zhou Yuan, who had been meticulous to their sisters, would betray them. The sun is setting in the west. After waiting hard for another day for 3 nights, my eyes were full of fatigue and helplessness. Yunxiao said with a haggard mind and body. Second and third sisters, what do you say? Can he really have something unexpected? Some time ago, my 3 sisters even did not hesitate to offend the master, and finally asked the master to take action to reflect Honghuang's search for Zhou Yuan, but the result was. Even the master couldn't find any trace of Zhou Yuan in the wilderness. Did he really have an accident? Upon hearing this, Qiongxiao Bixiao couldn't help but glance at each other, her eyes filled with worry, but also a hint of anger. The 2 women spoke one after another. Although he has little affection for me, in terms of strength. In the wilderness, besides the supreme sages like Master, who else could endanger that thin lover? I think he just doesn't want to see our 3 sisters. At that time, both the powerful members of the Lich and Demon tribes had no choice but to deal with him. He had made a mess of himself, and except for the 6 saints' actions, he wouldn't have had any accidents at all. How many wrongs have our 3 sisters suffered in the sect in order to wait for him? He is so lucky that he left without any news. Qiongxiao and Bixiao loudly rebuked Zhou Yuan, their emotions becoming increasingly excited, as if they wanted to express the grievances and pains they had suffered over the years, and their eyes gradually turned red. Even the calmest clouds fell silent at this moment. Indeed. Even if Sanxiao didn't want to believe that Zhou Yuan betrayed them and let down this relationship. After all, Zhou Yuan's care and affection for their 3 sisters made Sanxiao unwilling to accept this result. But they know better. With Zhou Yuan's strength. In the past, due to the anger of her 3 daughters, she directly confronted the powerful Lich and Demon races. In the end, the Lich and Demon tribes were forced to reconcile with him and apologize to Sanxiao. Such strength. Except for the 6 great sages, no one can pose a threat to him. Unfortunately, they recently specially invited their master to explore the whereabouts of Zhou Yuan, which is not in the wilderness. This situation. Either Zhou Yuanjin suffered some great calamity. Either Zhou Yuan deliberately hid from their sisters. Regardless of the outcome, it is clearly something that Sanxiao cannot accept. Let's go, this heartless man won't come back today either. Watching it getting late, Bai Zhao's face was covered with a layer of white frost, and he immediately got up to walk towards the island. And Qiongxiao Yunxiao could only give a slight sigh before getting up. Billions of years of hardship await. Sanxiao's disappointment grew bigger and bigger, and scenes like today have been staged countless times. Disappointments accumulate. Sanxiao even had no idea whether Zhou Yuan would return. Just at this moment. The 3 of them suddenly shook in unison. A sudden and mysterious perception appeared in the dark, as if something immensely significant was about to happen. But before Sanxiao could regain his senses, a peerless green shadow appeared simultaneously in the sea of consciousness among the 3 of them. When he saw this peerless figure clearly, Sanxiao was stunned in place like being struck by lightning. What a majestic figure that is. He stood silently in the depths of chaos, constantly bursting with endless power. That supreme and elegant temperament, even the Taoist ancestors cannot touch it. With the blessing of his great strength, the force far beyond that of a saint seemed somewhat unstoppable. Nothing else. Just because this unparalleled figure is fighting against the heavens with its own strength. The inexhaustible terrifying dark matter, whose source is constantly leaking out of the chaotic cracks, is absorbed by the owner of this figure. That terrifying dark substance, even the slightest breath emitted, made Sanxiao feel trembling and fearful. Unfortunately, it was completely absorbed by the owner of this figure, and this situation seemed to exist forever, lasting for endless years. What truly shocked Sanxiao was the appearance of this figure clearly. It is Zhou Yuan who has been missing for billions of years that they long for. That's husband. The usually calm Sky couldn't hold back any longer and immediately spoke excitedly. And looking at that cheek that exudes the highest temperament yet is incredibly familiar. Sanxiao's eyes instantly turned red. In addition to the incomparable resentment in his eyes, there is also a deep doubt. My husband has never contacted them for billions of years, and even completely lost track of them. Why are you suddenly taking the initiative to contact them now? And the situation of the husband in this picture seems very bad. Zixiao immediately said with a crying tone. What is husband doing? He hasn't appeared for such a long time, why does he now take the initiative to appear in my sister's Zhihai? What exactly happened? Zixiao's emotions clearly got out of control when she saw Zhou Yuan's projection. At this moment, Yunxiao Qiongxiao's heart was filled with mixed emotions, and the taste in her heart was hard to understand. Billions of years of hardship, among which only Sanxiao himself knows the bitterness. Unfortunately, this heartless man has not seen them yet, and even now he only uses a projection to meet them. What exactly is he going to do? Just when Sanxiao's thoughts were so chaotic that they were about to explode. The figure that stood alone against the heavens suddenly turned around. Suing silently looked at Sanxiao, her eyes incredibly complex and guilty. Suddenly, a series of letters appeared out of thin air in the form of the great Tao proverbs within the three heavenly seas of consciousness. The letter at the forefront is the most dazzling, while the rest of the letters seem to be enveloped in a cloud of chaos, blurry and unclear. At the same time, a supreme sound of the Great Road suddenly sounded simultaneously in the sea of consciousness in the three skies. Goodbye, Sanxiao. Chapter 3. Three Heavens of Sorrow, Seeking to See Master. A Suicide Note. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Three Heavens of Sorrow, Seeking to See Master. The Great Power on the Suicide Note. At the moment when the sound of the Great Road rings, Sanxiao's heart trembled in an instant. Because in Zhou Yuan's voice, there is clearly an endless longing and pain, a unique helplessness and guilt. This emotion even infected Zhou Yuan's time and space. The deep and chaotic Zhou Yuan seems to have dimmed the endless Milky Way around him. In an instant, Sanxiao was also infected by the mixed emotions in his voice, and his eyes became redder. At the same time, there was a huge uproar in my heart. This voice belongs to my husband. Zixiao's eyes were fixed on this figure, tears streaming down like broken beads. Qiongxiao and Yunxiao also shed tears like rain, and the bitterness that had accumulated in their hearts for billions of years immediately turned into tears, pouring down. Qiongxiao choked up and said, "What the hell is this heartless man doing? Isn't he? He doesn't want our three sisters anymore. Why are you pretending to appear in our sea of consciousness and leaving behind a letter?" Upon hearing this, the doubt in Yunxiao's heart grew even more severe, even stopping her tears. She suddenly wondered and said, "My husband's voice seems to be mixed with a sad emotion. When I first heard it, I couldn't help but be infected by the emotions in my voice and lost my mind for a moment. But if you think about it carefully now, the sentence that my husband deliberately said in the sea of knowledge, along with this letter. What exactly does it mean? As soon as this sentence is spoken, originally emotionally agitated and unable to control herself, Bixiao Qiongxiao finally realized that something was wrong. The two women immediately looked carefully at Zhou Yuan's projection in the sea of consciousness. Look at this. In an instant, Sanxiao's face changed drastically. Just now, in a state of confusion and anxiety, they did not notice the background of this phantom in the sea of consciousness. Deep in chaotic time and space. And Zhou Yuan was emitting endless power all over, suppressing the inexplicable dark matter pouring out from the cracks in time and space. This kind of scene clearly, it seems like my husband is using his own strength to resist the heavens. And combined with the reluctance and separation in Zhou Yuan's voice just now, this letter appeared out of thin air in their sea of consciousness. Clearly, it is the last testament left by their husband to them. The more Sanxiao thought about it, the more afraid he became, and his heart felt even more ashamed. For billions of years, I have wrongly blamed my husband. My husband doesn't want them anymore. Clearly, it is in the struggle against the terrifying dark substance leaked from the heavens, guarding the chaos and tranquility without escaping. Even now. My husband is already exhausted and about to fall, leaving a letter to remind him. Think of this. In an instant, Sanxiao was deeply saddened. After a moment, finally regaining his senses, Yunxiao suddenly gritted his teeth as if recalling something. Don't keep crying here. Go see your master. There is no consensus on whether this figure appearing in the sea of consciousness is actually a husband. Besides, if our husband is really fighting against the heavens with his own strength, we should tell our master about this matter and ask him to help us. Upon hearing Yunxiao say so, Bixiao Qiongxiao finally regained her senses as if she had just woken up from a dream. Yes, let's go see master. Master is the highest saint, and there must be a way to save my husband. Hurry up, don't wait here for a moment. The next moment, Sanxiao immediately set off and swiftly swept towards the location of Baiyu Palace. Within the Biu Palace. At this point, the leader of the Tongtian sect sat upright at the top, his body full of boundless Tao techniques interweaving and shining, with Tao sounds roaring incessantly. Auspicious omens fall from the sky and spread throughout the body. Strange phenomena occur intermittently. The orderly divine chains interweave and crisscross, as if spreading to the end of the void, with golden lotus blooming in clusters. Under the heavenly master, the four great princes, accompanying the seven immortals, the four saints of Kowloon Island, and Zhao Gongming, the head of the outer sect disciples, a group of prominent disciples of the apostolic faith, are all here, listening to the teachings of the Holy One. The sound of the palace's Tao resounds in unison, and the rules abound and crisscross. All the disciples had solemn and dignified expressions, showing respect and humility. A solemn scene. Just. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the palace, and urgent calls rang out. Master, save my husband. My husband has disappeared for hundreds of millions of years. Just now, he suddenly introduced a suicide note to my sister's jihai with the boundless Taoist method. Master, please take action. My husband is fighting against the heavens alone, and he can no longer hold on. The exclamation of surprise suddenly shattered the peaceful and solemn atmosphere in the Biu Palace. The leader of the Tongtian sect, who sat with his head closed, suddenly slowly opened his eyes. The disciples below looked surprised and looked out of the palace together. Because these few voices are quite familiar to them, it is clear that they are the voice of junior sister Sanxiao. Junior sister Sanxiao has always been steady and intelligent, and has never been so panicked before. But now, just in the midst of everyone's suspicion, Sanxiao had quickly entered the palace and immediately knelt down on the ground. After hastily bowing, Yunxiao looked up anxiously and shouted with a crying voice. Please take action, master, to save my husband. Upon hearing this, a hint of surprise flashed through Tong Tian's eyes. The Duobao Taoist below frowned and said. 3 junior sisters, don't worry. Is the husband in your mouth? The heartless man who has kept you waiting for billions of years. The three junior sisters also said that the heartless man was fighting against the heavens alone, and now he can't hold on anymore. They will send a series of suicide letters to your sea of consciousness. What exactly is going on? The eyes of the disciples who intercepted the teachings immediately fell on the sky, full of confusion. At this moment, Yinxiao's heart was on her husband, and there was no need to worry too much about etiquette. She quickly recounted everything she had seen in Shuhai before. At first, everyone didn't care. But when I heard that Zhou Yuanxiang was using his own strength to resist the heavens and inexplicable dark substances. A ray of divine light flashed in the eyes of Master Tong Tian. Resist the heavens with strength. Such a heinous move is something that one cannot do on their own. Even Daozu may not be able to reach it. With that heartless man who abandoned his beloved disciple for billions of years. I'm afraid it's not some unscrupulous person who used some means to transmit false information to Sanxiao. After listening to Yun Zhao's account, many disciples of the intercepting teachings shook their heads and began to discuss. Dingguang Immortal sneered. Did the three junior sisters miss that heartless man too much and have hallucinations? Resisting the heavens is something even a saint cannot achieve. With that so-called sentimental person. These ridiculous lies can actually trick the three junior sisters around, really. Sanxiao is usually intelligent and well-behaved, deeply loved by Tong Tian and many disciples who teach. At this moment, although Sanxiao had the audacity to venture into the Baiyu Palace first, what he said was quite absurd. But many disciples still felt that what Dingguang Immortal said at this moment was too heavy, and frowned one after another. Duobao also frowned and said. Is what the junior sisters have said truly true? Is it possible that some treacherous person is trying to deceive them? Be careful to discern, don't mess with treacherous schemes. The Holy Mother of the Turtle Spirit meowed her head to the sky, and at this moment, she also made a comeback and said. The three junior sisters were afraid that they had fallen ill from longing and had just made a rude move to enter the Baiyu Palace. It seems that Zhou Yuan was too cunning, causing the three junior sisters to fall deeply in love, which is why he did so. The noise inside the Baiyu Palace gradually rose. Some people sneer, some are dissatisfied, and some help Sanxiao smooth things out. But no one believed what Yun Xiao said. Seeing this, Bixiao Qiongxiao's eyes immediately turned red with anxiety, while Yun Xiao remained silent. Directly took out the first farewell letter left by my husband in Shuhai. Just when this farewell letter was captured by Yun Xiao from the sea of self-awareness. In an instant. Boom boom boom. Rolling track sound roaring. A terrifying pressure suddenly fell into the Baiyu Palace. The indescribable supreme power immediately swept through the Baiyu Palace, overwhelming everything. Many disciples, regardless of their level of cultivation, have a sudden change in their facial expressions. The body was suppressed to the death in place. Even the Heavenly Master, who has never been sad or happy, suddenly felt a palpitations in his heart. Two divine lights burst out in his eyes, staring intently at the suicide note in Yinxiao's hand. This force. This is the Tao Wei Li. Chapter 4. The Cataclysm of Intercept Education is coming, and the Three Heavens Future Meeting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The Cataclysm of Truncation is coming, and the Three Heavens will fall in the future. At this moment, all the disciples of Zixiao were shocked to look at the suicide note in Yinxiao's hand. This is just a letter, just when it was worshipped by the clouds. Surprisingly, it made them suddenly feel like they were truly out of their body, trembling to the point where they dared not move. Although this power is only a trace, the supreme pressure within it is beyond doubt. For a while, everyone was shocked on the spot, for no reason. At this moment, after this farewell letter was enshrined in the clouds, the pressure and restraint gradually weakened. In the end, it opened on its own, and rows of golden characters immediately condensed into the Bo Palace. In an instant, everyone's expression shook greatly, and Sanxiao stared intently at the lines of suicide letters. This letter is not long. But everyone watched for a long time. Sister Sanxiao, I haven't seen you for billions of years, I miss you so much. In the past, I and my 3 sisters walked through the wilderness, but it was actually the happiest and most joyful time of our lives. Upon seeing the first 2 sentences, many of the disciples who had cut corners shook their heads, and Zhao Gongming, who was the most protective, let out a cold snort. I haven't seen you for billions of years, I miss you so much. What? Why are you reluctant to see Sanxiao Jr. sister for billions of years, even though you miss her? Even if you really have some unspoken secrets. Is it true that there is not even time to say goodbye or leave a message? This is not purely deceiving our junior sister Sanxiao's feelings, do you still need to pretend to be a heartless man in the wilderness? Due to Sanxiao's affection, everyone did not speak out to mock. After suppressing their dissatisfaction, everyone continued to watch. Looking back at the beginning of the Lich Demon's enlightenment, my 3 sisters and I went to Biluo Island. The 3 sisters were very interested and insisted on cooking for me. Sister Yunxiao's palm fire is too hot, and the pot of fairy soup is burnt. Qiongxiao's sister cooked a table of immortal dishes and looked at me eagerly. It's ridiculous to say that Sister Qiongxiao knew that when I tried to swallow the dishes at that table, it was much more difficult than a fierce fight with the 2 powerful witches and demons. Sister Bixiao. But that day's meal was the most delicious and joyful meal I have ever had. At the beginning of the letter, it records the small things that happened when Zhou Yuan and Sanxiao first met. The wording is simple and ordinary, but carries an inexplicable deep emotion. When I reach this point, 3 nights have become a difficult time for oneself, tears streaming down my face. My husband actually remembers these small things from billions of years ago. Besides being moved. At the thought of my husband's life in danger, Sanxiao felt another heart-wrenching pain. As tears rained down, my face turned pale and gloomy, and it was indescribable. It looks like this. I shook my head in front of everyone. Zhao Gongming and other disciples who had a close relationship with Yun Xiao, had a layer of frost on their faces. This is clearly a bullshit letter deceiving an innocent little girl. Surprisingly, she even deceived Sister Sanxiao into tears streaming down her face, which moved her deeply. This heartless guy from Dog Day really pinched Sanxiao to death. Heartless man. Bo Qin Lang. Numerous intercepting disciples angrily rebuked in their hearts. At this point, the golden characters at the top have begun to dissipate, and new characters have begun to condense below. Everyone tried hard to tear apart Zhou Yuan's thoughts and continued reading. Just. The tone of the suicide note changed. I had already made an engagement with my 3 younger sisters, and I intended to spend the rest of my life with them. Even with simple meals, as usual every day, it is already very good, very good. Unfortunately, I sense the turbulence of the heavens, and a great disaster is imminent. In an urgent situation, I have no time to say goodbye and can only immediately go to the depths of chaos to suppress the heavens. This time guarding the heavens, it's difficult to plan the Yuan meeting. Perhaps there is still a chance to meet, or perhaps there is no chance to meet again. So I have left this farewell letter. That's all for reading. Looking at Sister Sanxiao, who had already burst into tears, many of the disciples who had completed teaching also felt a pang of heartache. Zhao Gongming was even more angry and distressed, comforting him. Junior Sister Sanxiao, don't cry. This heartless man has been reluctant to come and see you for billions of years, and now a letter can deceive you into tears like rain. This is really. It's really unreasonable. On the side. The turtle spirit Holy Mother, who was also extremely concerned about the 3 heavens, had an extremely ugly expression. Miss Sanxiao, why are you crying for this thin lover? How foolish. He left without saying goodbye at the beginning. It was foolish for you to wait for him for billions of years, but now you have been deceived by his sweet words, which is too much. At this moment, many disciples who cut off teaching are very angry. Because in their eyes, Zhou Yuan is a fraud who uses flowery words to deceive Sanxiao's feelings. Especially seeing Sanxiao's now confident and sorrowful expression. It made them extremely angry with Zhou Yuan. This Zhou Yuan is too poisonous. You really can't bear to see junior sister Sanxiao, but you even wrote a letter specifically to continue deceiving her feelings. In an instant, the noise inside the Bio Palace has become increasingly noisy, and many disciples have been urging for 3 nights. False, all the letters are fake. Still guarding the heavens. Just relying on him for a week's worth. It's ridiculous, absurd. This suicide letter is so fake that it can't be fake anymore. Junior sister Sanxiao, don't believe this scammer anymore. If he really cares about you, how could he not send back any message for so long, causing you to bear the fear and suffer from lovesickness on Jinao Island? Pure fraudster, deceive. A group of disciples who intercepted the teachings immediately tried their best to persuade them for 3 days. Fake. All of them are fake. He won't come back. That scammer is deceiving your feelings. Just. How can everyone speak? Sanxiao was just staring at the golden characters in the sky, tears pouring down his face, and he couldn't help but mourn. Above the head. Seeing the appearance of Sanxiao in the sky, I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. You idiot. Billions of years of hardship, relying solely on a ridiculous letter. Surprisingly, it could make Sanxiao, who is usually extremely intelligent, so irrational that he even dares to break into the Bayou Palace without permission. This week's Yuan Tong Tian shook his head secretly in his heart. He couldn't possibly believe what was written on this suicide note. Only resisting the heavens. That's something even Daozu couldn't do, how could a little guy do it? At this point, the atmosphere inside Bio Palace gradually quieted down. Everyone immediately followed the golden characters and continued to read. But the golden characters appearing on the suicide note next made everyone's faces change dramatically. The apocalypse of intercepting religion is approaching, and all levels will be destroyed. Sister Sanxiao, you will also fall in this great catastrophe. Chapter 5. The Power of the Great Tao Overmines Gongming. Truncation and Downfall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Power of the Great Tao Overmines Gongming. The Source of the Downfall of Intercepting Religion. When this line of golden characters appears, the faces of all the disciples in Bio Palace suddenly changed dramatically. Even Tong Tian sitting at the top suddenly had a hint of evil energy in his eyes. Sanxiao looked at the golden letters on the suicide note in horror, with an incredible shock on his face. Is the catastrophe of intercepting religion approaching? Up and down are all destroyed. Tong Tian, intercepting disciple. The debt of deceiving Sanxiao's relationship has not been settled with you yet, why are you starting to curse me for cutting off? In a moment of confusion, numerous disciples who intercepted the teachings immediately ignited a raging anger. And at this moment, Sanxiao's heart also felt strange. However, although I feel that what my husband said is somewhat inappropriate, I am aware that he is a stable person. Now suddenly speaking like this should have its own basis. Sanxiao thought of this and immediately looked up, wanting to continue reading. Can Sanxiao think so? The intercepting disciples present don't think so. In the midst of boiling in Bio Palace, all the disciples were eager to criticize Zhou Yuan. Bastard! What nonsense! This is a curse of transformation. I'll teach you how to cut it off. I'll take my heart out. I don't think this so-called suicide letter was written for Sister Sanxiao at all. It's just medicine for my disciple who intercepted my teachings. Sister Sanxiao, who has been waiting for him for billions of years, is now disgusted by my teaching. This person has such a despicable nature. Amidst a chorus of insults, the Taoba Taoist, who has always had the best temper, has now become extremely angry. He pointed to the suicide note and angrily rebuked. This Zhou Yuan, his heart is truly malicious. Not only did she deceive Sister Sanxiao's feelings, but now she even cursed me for cutting off teaching in her letter. Even the Turtle Spirit Holy Mother, who had been protecting the three heavens all along, her face was extremely cold at this moment and she sneered. Where is this person now? I haven't even considered deceiving my junior sister Sanxiao with him yet, but now I dare to curse me for cutting off teaching in a letter. It's really too bold. Now, we must arrest him and bring him back to Jinao Island as a warning to others. Even the kind-hearted Duobao and the Turtle Spirit Holy Mother who always takes care of Sanxiao are still like this. At this moment, it is natural to imagine that the anger in the hearts of the other disciples who intercepted the teachings was already the anger of the masses. The so-called mantra-cutting teachings are actually just the spark of their anger. What really angered them was that Zhou Yuan had never come back to see junior sister Sanxiao for billions of years. Whenever I see Sanxiao, who used to be lively and outgoing, I always frown and cry, as if she has changed her personality. These intercepting disciples have long been extremely dissatisfied with Zhou Yuan in their hearts. In their hearts, Zhou Yuan had long been labeled as a heartless man, a fraud, and so on. Now the emotions are exploding in a frenzy. The crowd is furious. And among the crowd, Zhao Gongming, who had the closest relationship with Sanxiao, suddenly burst into veins on his neck and shouted. How dare they stay in Bio Palace for a moment longer with such heinous and immoral words? The words have not yet finished. Zhao Gongming's entire body suddenly emerged with magical power, and his extremely powerful cultivation of the great Luo Golden Immortal swept through him in an instant. He held a congenital sword and stabbed straight at the suicide note. Seeing Zhao Gongming suddenly explode and attack the suicide note left by Zhou Yuan, even the angry disciples of the Zixiao sect were momentarily stunned and suddenly fell into silence. In the midst of grief, Sanxiao's face changed dramatically. Senior brother Zhao, what are you doing? Stop it. This is the only thing left by my husband, you cannot destroy it. Sanxiao exclaimed in surprise, intending to do everything possible to stop Zhao Gongming's attack, but unfortunately being suppressed by the sweeping power of the Dalai Lama and unable to move in place. Sitting at the top, Tong Tian watched the farce silently without any intention of blocking it. He really loved Sanxiao. Even among the three generations of disciples, he valued the three Xiaos the most. But precisely because of this, seeing that Sanxiao had been depressed due to Zhou Yuan's departure for billions of years, he naturally felt extremely dissatisfied with Zhou Yuan in his heart. Especially now, Zhou Yuan's so-called suicide letter is extremely absurd. What is resisting the heavens alone, what is cutting off religion and destroying it? You're a complete jerk. So seeing Zhao Gongming boldly take action on the suicide note, Tong Tian only listened to it and did not stop it. At the same time, Zhao Gongming held the innate sword, his whole body strong and powerful, and as the great Luo Dao method surged, he had completely collided with the suicide letter. Amidst the pouring of towering magic, many disciples with slightly weaker cultivation showed a surprised expression and quickly retreated. Just Zhao Gongming, holding a congenital sword and colliding with a suicide note, suddenly shrank his pupils. On the clearly visible suicide note, a supreme and terrifying aura suddenly surged up. He was eager to retrieve his sword, but it was already too late. Bang bang bang. The continuous sound of explosions echoed through the Bio Palace in an instant. Amidst the stunned gazes of all the intercepting disciples, Zhao Gongming, the leader of the disciples outside the hall, was instantly backfired by an inexplicable force, and his body flew out directly, fiercely hitting the wall of the Bio Palace. Kaka, the crisp sound of bone fragments immediately echoed through the Bayou Palace. Looking at Zhao Gongming lying horizontally on the ground, bleeding from his mouth and nose, he was instantly extremely miserable. Everyone stared at each other with big eyes and small eyes. Instantly confused. All the intercepting disciples immediately took a breath of cold air. Hiss. Zhao, the senior brother of the Grand Luo Jin Immortal Realm, surprisingly attacked a suicide letter as it backfired and suffered serious injuries. But Tong Tian, who had been letting it go, suddenly had his pupils shrink. Looking at the lingering suicide note, Tong Tian suddenly said in a low voice. "This is the power of the Great Way." This statement is already spoken. The audience members who had already been stunned by the scene before them, with a bunch of question marks on their faces. What? The power of the Great Way. On a fake suicide note written by a heartless man, there is actually the power of righteousness attached. What are you joking about? Unfortunately, this statement was made by the leader of the Tongtian sect, and there is no possibility of anyone questioning it. The Bio Palace suddenly fell silent like a cold cicada. Everyone looked at the floating letter of Zhou Yuan with a dementia on their face, so shocked that they couldn't speak. As Sanxiao looked at Zhao Gongming, who had been helped up by other disciples and seemed to have not harmed anything, he breathed a slight sigh of relief. A huge uproar also stirred up in my heart. Senior brother Zhao Gongming, as a powerful member of the Grand Luo Golden Immortal rank, was seriously injured by a suicide letter left by his husband. The meaning behind this is something that 3 people dare not think deeply about. In silence. But Tong Tian said coldly. "Keep reading." Upon hearing this statement, everyone could only suppress their fear and continue to watch. After a moment, the suicide letter finally condensed into golden light again, interweaving into rows of golden characters. It is not an exaggeration to say that the interception of teachings will be destroyed. After the Lich Demon volume robbery, there was another large amount of looting called the Function volume robbery. This calamity is specifically designed for the disciples who have intercepted the teachings. Calculating for my husband. Shortly thereafter, Hongjun will summon all the saints to hold a meeting at the Zixiao Palace. The saints will take advantage of this opportunity to force the Tongtian Palace, and at that time, the Tongtian Society will have to sign the God Sealing List. Thus, it is one of the sources of the downfall of the intercepted church. When I see this, the atmosphere of Bio Palace has completely fallen into a dead silence. And the leader of the Tongtian sect sitting at the top, his face suddenly changed dramatically. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me some flowers, tips, feedback, and comments. Thank you. Whenever there is a reward, it will explode at 10 tomorrow. Chapter 6. The Authenticity of the Testament. The solution, no. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The Authenticity of the Testament. The solution is to hide treasures without careful consideration. Master Tongtian stared blankly at the floating text in front of him, his head feeling a bit confused. Just now, he received a message from Hongjun Daozu. Let him go to Zixiao Palace to discuss major matters. And emphasize. This matter is of great significance, and all 6 saints will go there. Please make sure to attend. How did Han Zhouyuan, who was unfaithful, know about this? You should know that Daozu used the heavenly way to transmit sound. Even other saints cannot detect the transmission information. However, Zhouyuan knew. And above this testament, there is actually a great achievement. Even Zhao Gongming, who was in the realm of Dalai Lama, couldn't move a single word of Zhang's words and was instead injured by them. This is enough to demonstrate that Zhou Yuan indeed has some skills. Perhaps this guy's strength is still above that of Hongjun Daozu. So, the fact that he guarded billions of days may be true. Not right. I am the most beloved disciple of the Taoist ancestor. Daozu showed great care for himself, even more so for his two senior brothers. Moreover, in the beginning, the two elder brothers of the Supreme Court were brothers and sisters of the same kind. The transformation of one qi into three qings is transmitted through one lineage. San Jiaoban is one family. They can't possibly harm themselves. More crucial is intercepting teaching. But what's going on with this great testament? Is the last word true or false? San Zhao's tears flowed down again with a loud roar. My husband, who guarded the heavens, even thought of himself and his three companions when he fell. He may be able to deceive others, but he will definitely not deceive us. The great calamity of Fengshen is approaching, and the three of us are about to fall into the calamity of Fengshen. My husband is in imminent danger, and he is willing to use his great achievements to deliver a message to this end. You should know that every trace of great achievements will weaken his magic by a trace. He is already at the end of his rope, but thinking of this, Sanxiao couldn't help but feel sad from his heart. Over the years, we haven't missed each other in vain. Over the years, we have suffered from the pain of lovesickness. It's also worth it. The thought of Zhou Yuan suppressing the heavens had reached its final moment. San Zhao's heart was like a knife cutting. Tears couldn't stop flowing down. Humph, Fengshen Liangjie. This heartless man has a way of making up stories. Saying it as it is. Who doesn't know, the sect leader is the eldest and most beloved disciple of the Taoist ancestor. How could Daozu possibly harm Zixiao? Truly teach 10,000 immortals to come to the court, how can they be destroyed? This guy is alarmist. Surprisingly, they still use such words to deceive us. Damn it. It's just a pity for 3 nights. How good, how innocent a person is. I was fooled into being infatuated by this guy. If that Zhou Yuanxiao is here, even if he is defeated, I will still have a fight with him. A group of intercepting disciples, first they are not angry. Suddenly seeing the leader of the Tongtian sect, he was stunned on the spot. They were suddenly startled in their hearts. The reverence of the Holy Master, wise and decisive in handling matters. This expression should not have appeared on his face. Mo Fei. How intelligent the disciples are. With a sudden thought, they came up with a clue. Did Yuan hit the head's heart this week? Is what he said true? Not very likely. Zhao Gongming was also stunned on the spot. At this moment, he had forgotten the pain on his body. That Dao Zong Yen is definitely not something that one can compete against. The anti-seismic force transmitted above Zong Yen cost him half his life. He believed that Zhou Yuan indeed had the ability to suppress the heavens. Is it true that Zhou Yuan, this heartless man, is speaking? He is really guarding the heavens. He is really at the end of his career. All saints, are you really plotting to cut off religion? Well, just now, I received a message from the Taoist ancestor asking me to go to the Zixiao palace to discuss matters. And repeatedly reminded that this matter is of great importance and must not be delayed. The heavenly words resounded throughout the entire hall. A group of intercepting disciples couldn't help but turn pale. How did the heartless man know this news? Is this heartless man telling the truth? Originally, a group of disciples who were still skeptical. At this moment, 70 or 80% of them have already believed. This week, Yuan's strength is unfathomable. Perhaps what he said is true. Are the saints of the heavens really plotting to cut off teachings? At this point, the Tao Tsangyan has undergone another change. The power of Zixiao is enormous, and 10,000 immortals come to court. The hearts of the saints today are filled with jealousy. The 2 saints of the West aim to revitalize Western religion. Countless people with advanced cultivation are needed. With the combination of Fengshen and Liangjie, they can fish in troubled waters, intimidate and lure their disciples to the West. And Yuanshi Tianzuan, on the other hand, was even more wary of cutting off teachings. So, we must spare no effort to promote the enfeoffment of gods. If you go to the Purple Sky Palace, you will inevitably be forced by the saints. Tong Tian must not sign the god sealing list. Absolutely not signed. Remember. If one signs the list of gods, it is to sow the seeds for the downfall of the sect. The calamity of interception is inevitable. Remember. Remember. Never sign the list of gods. As long as you are in the Zixiao Palace and do not sign the divine sealing list, it is difficult for Hongjun Daozu to say anything. And the saints of the heavens are also helpless. However, from then on, the practice of intercepting religion will inevitably be suppressed by the joint efforts of the saints. Intercepting disciples may lead to their downfall. Master Tong Tian was shocked in his heart. Doubt and doubt. Is it possible to go to Zixiao Palace this time? Those saints really want to force themselves. Humph. They can say as they please. If it is really forced. Even if I try to eliminate the meteoric soul, I will still fight them to the death. I have worked hard to establish a teaching method, which has led to today's great achievement. The saints of the heavens want to destroy it. It's not an easy thing. How can I be content with everything? The leader of the Tong Tian sect gritted his teeth and had already made a secret decision. Even if you die, even if you lose everything. We also need to protect and educate comprehensively. The intercepted disciples also showed signs of displeasure one by one. The sages, wanted to seek enlightenment and seclusion. We must fight to the death to protect each other. Truncation, is it something they want to destroy and then destroy? Zhao Gongming stood up with strong support. Master, if those saints dare to break my teachings, I will do my best and also fight against them. Yes. Jinling Holy Mother, Wudong Holy Mother, Duo Bao Taoist, Turtle Spirit Holy Mother, accompanying the 7 immortals. All the intercepting disciples stood up. Even if our bodies disappear and our bones shatter, we will never let the conspiracy of the saints succeed. The disciple who intercepted the teachings, except for the tearful 3 Shaos. Everyone clenched their fists tightly. Various powerful breaths surged in the Bio Palace. They have the determination to fight against the saints. See you, Master Tong Tian. A smile appeared on the face. Zixiao has this disciple. I have this disciple in heaven. It's worth it. Everyone is united and sincere. What if facing the saints? No big deal, fight against one. No big deal, my body will disappear. Zhang Yan has undergone another change, and Zhou Yuan's voice has once again sounded. Back then, I left in a hurry and didn't have time to say goodbye to Sanxiao. Therefore, in the midst of Mount Buzhou, there were several lucky treasures and 3 heavens left behind. This opportunity requires Sanxiao to personally go. Only in the breath of the 3 heavens can this opportunity be triggered. If there are difficulties in teaching, you can go to Buzhou Mountain to seize this opportunity. When we can help Zixiao overcome this calamity. The first farewell letter of Chapter 7 is over. Go to Purple from the Sky. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first farewell letter of Chapter 7 is over. Go to Zixiao Palace through the heavens. Bio Palace. The disciples who were still enthusiastic just now fell silent again. That Zhou Yuan, surprisingly, left an opportunity for Sanxiao at Buzhou Mountain. Moreover, treasures and opportunities can help Duan Jiao overcome this calamity. You should know, as Zhou Yuan said. We have to deal with those who intercept teachings, but the 5 great saints. What kind of magic weapon? Can you shoulder the 5 great sages? This week Yuan, you're not bragging, are you? However, thinking of the holy power that came from that last word. In addition, Zhao Gongming was unexpectedly struck by the anti-seismic force of his last words, leaving only half of his life. Prove that Yuan Xiu was extremely high and powerful this week. But no matter how strong your cultivation is, with that little chance and magic weapon. Can we compete with the saints of the heavens? For a moment, a group of disciples became skeptical again. They completely don't believe that Zhou Yuan can be so strong. The sound reached Sanxiao's ears, but it was another matter. Husband, he surprisingly left a chance for us. It seems that he left without saying goodbye, and indeed had some ulterior motives. Perhaps, when he left, he was also extremely helpless and had to resort to this strategy. Our waiting for billions of years is worth it. At this moment, Zhou Yuan was being invaded by endless dark matter, and perhaps Sanxiao was once again deeply saddened. Looking at the floating golden text in the void, their tears flowed down again without any cost. If it weren't for the strong mana of a few people and their strong support, they would probably have collapsed to the ground by now. I am at the end of the heavens, suppressing them. The dark aura is getting stronger and stronger, and my body is already filled with dark substances. They are constantly eroding my body. I am now at the end of a strong crossbow and may fall at any time. If I fall, it will inevitably cause turmoil in the heavens and a great calamity will come. This testament, consisting of 13 letters, has been passed down in the sky. This is the first testament. If time comes, the testament will be lifted. Zhou Yuan's voice echoed continuously in the Bio Palace. A group of sect members, their faces all changed. The sky and the surface sink like water. At the beginning of my establishment of Zixiao, it was one of the purposes of intercepting and evading. This is an incredible move. Intercepting education will inevitably bring many disasters and difficulties. This weak Yuan, there is some truth to it. And let's see what to say next. Listening only to Zhou Yuan's tone, he suddenly became gentle. I protect the heavens, but I have not been able to protect my beloved. The bitterness in this, who knows? Although I am going, the most unforgettable and reassuring ones are my 3 wives. Yunxiao, Bixiao, Qiongxiao. I, Zhou Yuan, did not disappoint the people of the world, but only you 3. Looking back, on the 3 Immortals Island, how happy we were waiting for. Yunxiao, you said, you like clouds, and I quietly set up a mist formation on Sanxiao Island, attracting clouds all over the sky. When you saw it, you said it must be your wish, touching the heavens. At that moment, you were as happy as a child. In fact, the happiest person was not you. But it's me. My greatest joy for Zhou Yuan is to bring you joy. Upon hearing this, Yunxiao's figure softened and he collapsed to the ground. A smile appeared on his face, but he smiled so sadly. Fool, do you really think that I don't know you made it? I'm happy because you remember a small thing I casually said to you. I pretend not to know, but I don't want you to be happy. Sister. Bixiao and Qiongxiao quickly squatted down and supported Yunxiao. Qiongxiao, you have a hot temper. That day, a wicked dragon came to sneak a peek at you. You said you wanted to chop it into 90.9, 80.1 sections. I said I would handle this to avoid contaminating your immortal temperament. Actually, I didn't kill that evil dragon. I saw him pitiful and secretly let him go. I'm sorry, I lied to you. Qiongxiao's expression darkened and she shook her head suddenly. I don't blame you. Really, actually, I also know. Zhou Yuan, your broad-mindedness is the most fascinating. Zhou Yuan's voice paused, as if he had let out a sigh. Bixiao, actually, the one I'm most sorry for is you. I promised you that when the western Bodhi fruit ripens, I will pick it all and give it to you. Unfortunately, the Bodhi fruit was not yet ripe, so I was sent to suppress the heavens. I didn't keep my promise. Sorry. Upon hearing this, Bixiao's body softened and tears streamed down her face. Fool, that's just something I casually said. I didn't expect that after billions of years, you still remember. Husband, you will always be my husband. The disciples who intercepted the teachings were all moved when they saw it. Originally, they thought that Zhou Yuan was just a heartless man. But I didn't expect that Zhou Yuan was actually an infatuated person. No wonder he was able to win the heart of Sanxiao. No wonder, after billions of years, Sanxiao still remembers him. Tong Tian sighed and said, "Alas, the word emotion has ultimately become a bond for the world. Such deep affection is rare in the world." Zhao Gongming looked at Sanxiao. He has always been the one who hates Zhou Yuan the most. He has been watching the attachment of the three sisters to Zhou Yuan. He hates it. Hate that ruthless Zhou Yuan. But after listening to Zhou Yuan's words, Zhao Gongming also felt a lot of relief in his heart. Missing each other is mutual. At the same time as missing Zhou Yuan in Sanxiao, Zhou Yuan is also missing Sanxiao. This kind of longing is worth it. It's a pity, this thief. What exactly did Sanxiao do wrong? Surprisingly, they were separated from Zhou Yuan for billions of years. Now, we are facing life and death. Yun Xiao, Bixiao, Bixiao. Farewell. The treasures and opportunities one left behind in Buzhou Mountain are the key to solving the crisis of sealing the gods and measuring the calamity and intercepting the teachings. Only when you personally go and the magic weapon recognizes your breath will it appear. So, you must personally go to Mount Buzhou. Remember. Remember. The sound disappears. That last word also slowly drifted into the void. Husband. Sanxiao suddenly felt startled and rushed forward. I want to catch that drifting testament. However, they caught an empty spot. Husband. The three heavens fell to the ground, causing great sorrow and calamity. A group of intercepting disciples looked at Sanxiao and remained silent. Everyone's hearts are touched. It seems that time has already solidified at this moment. In the entire hall, there was a deathly silence, only 3 nights of silent sobbing. Cough. The heavenly master coughed lightly, breaking the tranquility of the main hall. Dear disciples, it is difficult to distinguish whether this matter is true or false. Now, the Taoist ancestor is also rumored to urge me to go to the Purple Sky Palace immediately. The truth of this matter will naturally be revealed. Chapter 8. All Saints forcing the palace. The suicide note is real. I understand. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. All Saints forcing the palace. The suicide note is real. I will never be a deity in heaven. A group of disciples who intercepted the teachings were all shocked to hear that the leader of the Tongtian sect wanted to go to the Zixiao palace. Master, if what Zhou Yuan said is true, if you go to Zixiao palace, you may have some trouble. Daoist Duobao stepped forward and said. Yes, Master, don't go there. A group of disciples also immediately dissuaded. The heavenly master waved his hand, and the endless Saint Wilton overwhelmed the entire audience. Don't be afraid, even if the saints want to deal with me, as long as the Daozu doesn't take action, I can still retreat completely. There is currently no consensus on whether what Zhou Yuan said is true or false. Therefore, this time, I must go to Zixiao Palace. Even if what Zhou Yuan said is true, in the Zixiao Palace, if I don't sign the divine sealing list, I can still return safely, right? All the disciples were right upon hearing this. Didn't Zhou Yuan say so? Tell the heavenly sage not to sign the divine list. And as I said, Hongjun Daozu won't take action. So, Master must be able to fully retreat. Farewell to Master. A group of disciples, following the heavenly sage, left the Bio Palace and bowed together. The heavenly sage stepped forward and instantly appeared in the void. Endless auspicious clouds surged forward and gathered around the saints of heaven. The head of the Tongtian sect turned around and glanced at the disciples who had intercepted the teachings. In an instant, it turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the void. 9 days away, a palace stands tall in between. The palace is extremely magnificent, exuding a simple and solemn atmosphere. The endless laws of Tao rhyme constantly surge around. In the sky, there are countless auspicious clouds, and purple qi converges, constantly rolling. It is precisely where Hongjun Daozu's dojo is located. The holy land of Zixiao Palace in the minds of countless cultivators. The leader of the Tongtian sect stepped into the Zixiao Palace, and the atmosphere suddenly changed. I saw Hongjun Dao sitting on a high lotus platform, and the other 5 saints standing below it. As the leader of the Tongtian sect entered, the faces of all the saints showed indescribable smiles. The leader of the Tongtian sect steps forward and salutes the Hongjun Daozu. Disciple Tongtian, greetings to the Taoist ancestor. The Taoist ancestor's immortal blessings will be enjoyed forever, with a long and peaceful life. Hongjun Daozu nodded slightly. Oh my goodness. Today, I gather all the saints together to discuss important matters. According to the calculation of the former neon zodiac sign, there will be an immeasurable calamity in all the heavens and realms, which is called the immeasurable calamity. If not handled properly, the flood and famine of all the heavens will suffer a catastrophic disaster. Now, the heavenly court is empty, and I want to restart the God sealing list and confer the title of 365 roots of fucking Jingshan. By then, the heavenly court will be stable. Even if there is a great calamity in my wilderness, I can use the power of the heavenly court to stabilize the heavenly realm and overcome this calamity. What do you think? Upon hearing this, a huge wave surged in my heart. What? Fengshen Liangjie. Restart the God sealing list. So, the reason why Daozu asked me to come today is to discuss the matter of sealing the gods and measuring the calamity. What Zhou Yuan said was actually true. So, next, are these saints going to force themselves to sign the list of gods? In the heart of the heavens, the majestic and towering figure emerged. Zhou Yuan, surprisingly, has been guarding the heavens alone for billions of years. The quantity calamity calculated by Hongjun Daozu must be that after the fall of Zhou Yuan, those dark substances will emerge from the chaotic world, triggering the quantity calamity. Zhou Yuan, Zhou Yuan. I have lived my entire life and never submit to others. Always pursuing the way in one's heart. However, in front of you, I am as small as an ant. All the cultivators in the world practice diligently in pursuit of enlightenment. And you, on the other hand, stand alone against the heavens. For hundreds of millions of years, we have guarded the heavens in the wilderness. At this moment, it feels like the sky is full. In front of Zhou Yuan, I am nothing at all. Only Zhou Yuan can be considered a true man. The way guarded by Zhou Yuan is the true way. Daozu, since the immeasurable calamity is approaching and there is a solution, I have no reason to oppose it. Master Tongtian spoke verbally. But I thought to myself. I'll see what kind of trick you're playing. Is it true as Zhou Yuan said? You've already discussed it. I want to borrow my advice to get through this measurement crisis. Okay, since that's the case, then let's leave the matter of enfeoffment to you for discussion. Hongjun Daozu said. At this moment, the Yuanshi heavenly lord turned his head and looked at the leader of the Tongtian sect. Tongtian junior brother, there are 365 roots of fucking Jingshan. You need to kill 365 virtuous individuals and those with advanced cultivation. You can be mentally prepared. And the quasi-Taoist also said. Yeah. Unfortunately, in my Western religion, there are only 2 saints left, and there is not a single disciple. If you want to send someone to the list of gods, there is no way. After hearing this, Empress Enyuwa also stood up. My demon tribe, there are some big demons, but since the establishment of the Duan sect by Tongtian Daoist friends, most of the big demons have turned to the Duan sect, and I really have no choice but to do so. The Supreme Master touched his white beard. Alas, if I had known today earlier, I should have carried forward humanity. There is only one disciple who has personally passed down my teachings, and there are only 2 or 3 named disciples. Upon hearing this, Tong Tian suddenly understood. These guys first promote the great cause of becoming gods. However, there is also an excuse that there is no one around. This is a calculation lesson. That Zhou Yuan was indeed right. These guys probably discussed it before they arrived. Now, just wait for yourself to fall into the trap. Two senior brothers, please mention Daoist friends, lead Daoist friends, and Nuwa Daoist friends. What do you mean by saying this? Asked the leader of the Tongtian sect. Just listen to the primitive heavenly sovereign saying. Tongtian junior brother, you are known as the 10,000 immortals coming to the court and have countless disciples under your sect. This great achievement of becoming a deity relies entirely on your guidance. Do you mean to take advantage of this great calamity and kill the disciples of my sect? Asked Master Tongtian. Yuanshi Tianzuan listened and directly pointed out the problem. I didn't borrow it, junior brother Tongtian. The people in your intercepted teachings are all those with wet bodies, egg transformation, scales, and armor. How can people with such dull qualifications achieve great success? Even if they were killed, there would be no shame, right? The quasi-Taoist immediately stepped forward to repair the knife. Yeah. Friends of the heavenly way, these people are ultimately difficult to achieve. It's better to send them to the list of deities, confer titles to the gods in the heavenly court, and prove their divine position, which can also be considered as giving them a cause and effect. Isn't this a big good thing? And that Supreme Master Laozi directly took out the list of deities. Junior brother Tongtian, all 5 of us have already signed the function list. It's just up to you, sign it. The leader of the Tongtian sect suddenly became angry. His cold eyebrows stood erect, and with the blessing of magic, his robe also stirred. Glancing at the saints. Okay. Dare, you guys have already discussed it, haven't you? I teach my disciples, all of whom are practitioners of the way. They are all focused on cultivating the way. Is there anything wrong with them? You preach, teach, and the demon race are your heartfelt flesh, and cannot be killed. I'll cut off all my disciples, will they all die? Humph, today's list of deities. Do you like to sign or not? I will never sign this list of gods today. After speaking, Tong Tian's figure shook and disappeared into the purple sky palace. Chapter 9. The Zixiao Palace meeting has no results. The arrival of the saints. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Zixiao Palace meeting has no results. Sages descend. Do you sign this list of gods or not? The leader of the Tongtian sect suddenly left. Leave the various saints and the leader of Hongjun sect in chaos in the Zixiao Palace. Humph. Wushi Tianzun let out a cold snort. Now, with the impending calamity, this Tongtian has disregarded the safety of the flood with his own selfish interests. On weekdays, even if he is stubborn, he can still act impulsively on such big matters. Throughout history, Hongjun Daozu has favored Tongtian, young junior brother, which has made Wushi Tianzun very dissatisfied. The sect established by the leader of the Tongtian sect has numerous talented individuals and several quasi-holy realms. There are also countless disciples under the sect. I have already made Yuanshi Tianzun jealous. And this time, due to the imminent destruction of the 12 golden immortals, the Taoist ancestor intends to summon them to the heavenly court. Even more to the displeasure of Yuanshi Tianzun. Those 12 golden immortals were selected from thousands of his disciples. So, under the guidance of Hongjun Daozu, Yuanshi implemented the practice of enfeoffment of gods and measurement of calamities, allowing the disciples of Zixiao to be listed. So he persuaded several saints to jointly sign the list of deities in the Purple Sky Palace. The 2 saints of Western religion, who want to revitalize Western religion, suffer from withering under their doors. Together with Fengshen Liangjie, they were naturally able to fish in troubled waters, so they made a secret agreement with Yuanshi to jointly promote the great cause of Fengshen. The Supreme Master Laozi also saw the great power of Tongtian, so he was willing to let Tong Tian sign the list of gods to weaken Tongqian's interception of teachings. Upon seeing the agreement of other saints, Empress Enyu was naturally willing to offer a favorable favor. However, they did not expect that Tong Tian would refuse to sign the function list. Upon hearing this, Zhuanti Daoran also said to Hongjun, Daozu, now measuring calamity is closely related to the safety of the flood and famine. If Tong Tian does this, he will be trapped in the flood and famine and in danger, which is an unjust act. I hope Daozu will punish him. Sigh. The Supreme Master also sighed. Being capricious on weekdays is just enough. Such a big deal, how could he be so capricious? This time, we absolutely can't get used to him. The guide remained silent. At this time, he just needs to follow the trend. He had already realized that the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord and others would inevitably push for the act of enfeoffment. This kind of thing only requires sitting and harvesting the benefits of the fisherman. The Empress Enyu didn't speak either. But the attitude is very obvious, standing on the side of the saints. Hongjun Daozu sighed. Anyway, let's leave this matter to you to handle. I believe that if you uphold righteousness and appeal to emotions, then he is not someone who is ignorant of the big picture. You will definitely be able to persuade him. Upon hearing this, Yuanshi couldn't help but be overjoyed. How could he not understand the meaning of Hongjun Daozu? This time, Hongjun Daozu stood on his side. Humph. It's not so easy for Tong Tian to not sign the God sealing list. This is a great opportunity to suppress the interception of teaching. A few Taoist friends. I think Tong Tian was also angry for a while, but let's go to the Bio Palace together, explain the reason to Tong Tian, and ask him to re-sign the God sealing list. Yuanshi Tianzuan turned his head and said to the other saints. The Supreme Master also nodded and said, Junior brother, your words are reasonable. Let's join forces and go to the Bio Palace. Say it. A few people left Zixiao Palace and came towards Bio Palace. But he said that the leader of the Tong Tian sect returned to the Bio Palace, and the more he thought about it, the more angry he became. I didn't expect that Zhou Yuan's last words were true. In the Zixiao Palace, they indeed allowed me to sign the divine list. If it weren't for Zhou Yuan's reminder, I'm afraid I might have already signed the function list. In this way, isn't it true that Zixiao thinking of this, Tong Tian almost burst into a cold sweat. Supreme Master Laozi, the heavenly sovereign of Yuanshi. You and I are in the same lineage. I regard you two as brothers and have great respect and love for you. I didn't expect that you would unite with the two saints of Western religions to suppress me today. You're trying to destroy me. Red lotus, white lotus, green lotus leaves, the three religions were originally one family. I am your own younger brother. Why are you helping that Western religion? I still want to eliminate my interception. The more I think about it, the more angry I become. I can't even express my thoughts. No way. I have to go to the Eight Scenes Palace and the Jade Void Palace. Discuss with the two brothers to understand. Thinking of this, the leader of the Tong Tian sect wanted to leave the Bio Palace. However, at this moment, over Jinao Island, the heavens and clear clouds converge. The endless auspicious energy converges in the void. Xianla bursts in waves, Xianyin curls up. All the disciples of the Baiyu Palace who stopped teaching were alarmed. All rushed out from the place of cultivation. One by one, they showed signs of astonishment and cast their gaze into the sky. Such a vision, may it be that the power of a saint is about to come. Sure enough. Just as the disciples were stunned, a few holy lights shot straight from 9 days away. 5 saints, stepping on the void, appeared on the auspicious sign. Yuanshi, Supreme Laozi, Zhuanti, Jiayin, and Yuhua. Come together. What? All 5 saints come together. The disciple who intercepted the teachings was inexplicably shocked. Tong Tian, why don't you come out and meet me? The Supreme Master Laozi slowly spoke up, his voice spreading throughout the entire sea area of Jinao Island, constantly echoing in the void. Okay, I'm not going to find you guys are coming to your door instead. The 5 saints come together, how can the leader of the Tong Tian sect not know? I saw him suddenly appear in front of the 5 saints. Tai Shang, Yuanshi, Zhuanti, Jiayin, and Yuhua. Why do you come together? Tong Tian is not very angry, so there is naturally a mix of anger in his words. Upon seeing him, the Supreme Master said. Tong Tian, you are becoming more and more unruly. How could you talk to your senior brother like this? It seems that on weekdays, Master is still too indulgent towards you. Tong Tian rode. Your Highness, you have asked me to sign the Fengshen Bang and intend to kill my disciples. Do you think I should be polite to you? Tong Tian's words came out. The disciple of Bio Palace below suddenly exploded. I didn't expect what Zhou Yuan said to be true. Daozu asked the leader of the sect to go to the Purple Sky Palace, and indeed, it was to sign the divine list. Signing the God sealing list is to harm our lives. No wonder the sect leader is angry. While we are secretly practicing, they are actually trying to harm our lives. What's the reason for this? I, the Holy Mother of the Golden Spirit, even if I fight him to the death, it won't be as good as their wishes. Yes, let's cut off the teaching, absolutely disagree. The disciples of the Zixiao sect were furious. That ancestor, these saints. Not only should we destroy the sect, but we should also harm the lives of the disciples of the sect. They have practiced for countless years, yet they are unwilling to follow. Seeing Tong Tian refuse to sign the divine list, he is willing to engage in evil relations with saints such as the Supreme Emperor. These disciples were also deeply moved. However, they also know. Nowadays, the 5 saints have arrived together. Today's situation may be difficult to resolve. These intercepting disciples clenched their fists and secretly connected their magic weapons. As long as the leader of the Tong Tian sect gives a command, they will kill the 5 saints. Even if we lose. Even if you hit the stone with an egg. So what? It's just a matter of dying. Sanxiao's expression was dark. My husband, indeed he did not deceive us. He left his last words to save Zixiao and protect our lives. Husband. Sanxiao couldn't help but feel sad from his heart, and his eyes also turned red. Chapter 10. Never succumb and establish the 10,000 Immortals Formation. Go no. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Never succumb and establish the 10,000 Immortals Formation. Go to Buzhou Mountain to search for treasures. After listening to Tong Tian's words, the Supreme Master couldn't help but feel shocked. Based on his understanding of Tong Tian, he is definitely not someone who disregards the overall situation. Tong Tian, now that the calamity is approaching, only by signing the Fengshen Bang can we avoid this great calamity. At this moment, you should think more about the numerous creatures in the wilderness. The cold passage through the sky. Grand Master Laozi, don't pretend to be hypocritical either. If you let the great master of Xuandu come out to deal with the calamity, I have nothing to say. How could it be? Xuandu is my only disciple who has been passed down personally. The Supreme Master immediately refused. Master Tong Tian sneered coldly. Your only disciple cannot accept the tribulation. It is your flesh and blood, and my disciples under the sect of Zixiao are not valuable. Each of them is my flesh and blood. It is impossible for me to sign the Fengshen list. Yuanshi Tianzuan listened and stood up. Tong Tian, most of your disciples are monsters who have become spirits, some of them have wet bodies and turned into eggs, and those who wear lin and armor will ultimately find it difficult to achieve great success. Allowing them to cope with tribulations and obtain a divine throne is their best destination. Why can't you figure it out? The words of Yuanshi Tianzuan immediately pricked the hornet's nest. The disciple of Bio Palace felt a great insult. Yuanshi Tianzuan, please speak with respect and focus. Although our roots are not good, we are all focused on saying, did you provoke you? Fuck your mother. I didn't expect that in the beginning, you, the Holy One, would say such words. You're so damn, you look down on me, you preach, even dogs won't go. A group of disciples of the Shujiao sect began to curse angrily. Yuanshi Tianzuan looked at the disciples below and sneered. Tong Tian, look at your disciples. With such a mindset, how can you cultivate positive results? The head of the Tong Tian sect's entire face turned black. Yuanshi Tianzuan, I usually respect you as my senior brother, but you insult my disciples. Do you think I'm afraid you won't succeed? Yuanshi Tianzuan's face also darkened. Previously, in Bio Palace, there was Hongjun Daozu present. He is not good at taking action and obstructing the leader of the Tong Tian sect. If it comes to fighting alone, Yuanshi has no confidence in defeating Tong Tian. And today, Senior Brother Taishang and 3 other saints are present. The primordial heavenly sovereign's aura suddenly surged. Tong Tian, today's list of deities. If you don't sign, you have to sign. If you sign, you have to sign. After speaking, the holy power surged on his body, instantly sweeping across the entire world. Endless holy power rushed towards the leader of the Tong Tian sect. At the same time, his 3 precious jade treasures were worshipped as expected, and the Pangu banner was already in hand. The endless terrifying power emanates from 2 innate spiritual treasures. At any time, launch an attack on the leader of the Tong Tian sect. The Zhuanti Taoist saw it, and with a movement of his hand, the 7 treasures and wonderful tree staff had already appeared in his hand. Above the wonderful tree staff, there are glass, pearls, jade with a clanging sound. My eyes stared fixedly at the sky. Upon seeing the situation, Jane also took out his Jane treasure building and locked in the leader of the Tong Tian sect. It's okay, it's okay. It seems that if we don't give Tong Tian some color today, he won't be able to sign the function list. The Supreme Master sighed. Immediately, the Xianhuang Linglong Pagoda of heaven and earth appeared above his head, and the Tai Chi diagram appeared faintly in front of him. Nguyen Yangyang was first taken aback. She didn't expect these saints to take action as soon as they said they would. We had to take out the red embroidery ball and the map of mountains and rivers, ready to launch an attack on Tong Tian. Tong Tian, do you sign or not sign this list of gods? Yuanshi Tianzuan once again shouted loudly. Facing the 5 saints, the leader of the Tong Tian sect suddenly burst into laughter. Okay, okay. Yuanshi, lousy. I and you are brothers and sisters. I didn't expect that today, you would collude with outsiders to bully me. After speaking, he shook his hands all over the sky. A piece of clothing fell off. Today, the relationship between you and me is like this robe. From now on, let's go our separate ways. The words of Master Tong Tian are filled with grief and indignation, and his heart aches to the extreme. He never expected that his respected elder brother, unexpectedly knocking on the door. Okay, if you want to destroy me, I'll fight you. The heavens are filled with sorrow and anger. With a swaying figure, he landed on the top of the Bio Palace. With a wave of his hand, a formation map instantly covered the entire Golden Ao Island. Listen to the orders of all the sect members and set up the Great Immortal Formation. A group of disciples saw Tong Tian being bullied by the 5 holy places. I can't bear it anymore. Upon hearing the words of Master Tong Tian, he immediately shook his body and shot in all directions. Disciple Duo Bao, return to your position. Disciple Jin Ling returns to his position. Disciple Wu Dang returns to his position. Follow the 7 immortals back to their rightful place. Return to the throne on the 28th night. The 4 saints of Kowloon Island are returning. Disciple Zhao Gongming returns to the throne. Sounds came from all directions. Haha. Today, I will fight against the 5 saints alone after completing my teaching. Master Tong Tian laughed. With a loud roar. Formation, activate. Suddenly, a group of disciples sacrificed their magical treasures in their hands, and endless magical power surged out of the formation. A towering killing formation, instantly formed. The 10,000 Immortals Formation is complete. Endless killing intent instantly swept across the entire desolate continent. Over Jinao Island, layers of clouds and mist surged, completely enveloping the entire island. This 10,000 Immortals Formation was learned by the Heavenly Master when he preached and the 10,000 Immortals came to the court. In the big formation, there are countless small formations. Golden Light Array. Yellow Sand Formation. 10 Great Formation. There are also 2 Instrument Arrays and 4 Image Arrays. Hundreds of formations, connected and shining together. All the large formations can be launched together to unleash their powerful power. In the midst of the gods. Due to cutting off disciples, many were killed. The 10,000 Immortals Formation arranged by the master of the Tongtian sect has many fewer formations and greatly reduces its power. Nowadays, the complete version of the 10,000 Immortals Formation is set up by the leader of the Tongtian sect. Its power is more than 10 times that of the 10,000 Immortals Formation in Fengshan. Seeing the formation of the 10,000 Immortals Formation, the leader of the Tongtian sect shook his body and came to the Taoist platform within the formation. There are 4 Taoist platforms, each guarded by 4 personally transmitted disciples. I've met Master Duo Bao and others, seeing the arrival of Tongtian, quickly approached and saluted. Master Tongtian nodded slightly. Those 5 saints have the ability to penetrate heaven and earth. The 10,000 Immortals Formation that I intercepted has infinite power, but it can only block 1 or 2 saints. If the 5 saints move together, they can still persist for a period of time. Duo Bao, I will give you the 4 swords of Zhu Xian. If the 10,000 Immortals Great Formation is broken, you should immediately arrange the Immortal Slaying Sword Formation to deal with Yuan Shi, Zhuan Ti, and others. I and those 3 Shaos will immediately head to Buzhou Mountain to retrieve the treasures and opportunities left by Lin Feng. I hope you can persist until your seat returns. The leader of the Tongtian sect and the Holy Mother of the Golden Spirit, with a resolute expression on their faces. This battle is related to the life and death of intercepting the teachings. Now, the Master has entrusted such a heavy responsibility to them. The 4 personally passed down disciples suddenly felt a great sense of responsibility. Master, rest assured that even if we die, we will die together with those saints, and we will fight until the last moment. On Tongtian's face, a faint smile appeared. I patted Duobao's shoulder and said, I don't want you to die, nor do I want any disciples to die. I want you to wait for me to return. Duobao's eye circles instantly turn red. Nodding heavily. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me some flowers, tips, feedback, and comments. Thank you. Whenever there is a reward, it will explode at 10 tomorrow.